Hello everybody. Welcome back to Sacred Saturdays, a weekly video series where I come in and talk about self-care tips that I use myself. So today I wanted to talk about something super interesting because due to a couple experiences that I have had as of late, I wanted to talk about the difference between talking and communication. Now, I've found that in relationships, we have about 4 stages of these, and the difference I feel between talking and communicating is that while you might be exchanging words when you're talking, and perhaps those words might have value because you might be learning about the other person, communication comes with a layer of empathy, and communication comes with a kind of an idea that I want you to understand me, and I am also willing to understand you, and it helps to get you somewhere from point A to point B. And I find this particularly interesting in relationships because I've seen a lot of, and I don't want to point fingers, but I have seen a lot of men that say communication is so important because we hear this phrase, communication is so important in relationships. And it is, but I don't think that people really know what it means. Because when faced with a problem to communicate through, the actual tendencies and the willingness and the work that goes behind communication kind of falls to the wayside. And that may be for a multitude of reasons, whether it be fear, lack of courage, confidence, anything that a person may be going through. So these 4 stages of communication I've kind of compiled in the simplest way that I possibly could. Now, the first stage of talking and communication, especially when we're let's say we're courting someone, whether that be a friendship, work friend, new relationship, whatever, it's cordial banter, you know each other, there's a flirtation aspect to it, you guys are just kind of like starting to get to know each other, and there's a chemistry exchange. And I say that this works with, any type of relationship because why pursue a deeper connection with someone if there's no chemistry whatsoever? You don't want to just have a deadpan person hanging around you, right? So even if it's a friendship versus romantic, this is still something that's very, kind of a baseline. There's a chemistry that happens. So cordial banter, hey, what's up? All this stuff, cool, right? Then in the second stage, and I find this happens more in romantic tendencies, but obviously the level of communication escalates in whether it be friendship or what have you. But then it's an escalation in communication or constant contact. So if something arises in your life and you want to talk about it or you want to share it with someone, that's the person that you reach to because it's the person that comes to mind and the person that you want to share things with. This is the stage where you get to know each other much better and where you understand the inner workings, what's important to each other, and it can still be very enamoring, really, with either partner. Again, whether friendships or romantic relationships. In this constant contact phase, we're discovering lots of different things about each other. This might be where red flags arise if you visited my last video on boundaries, but this might also be extremely intriguing. So this is where we're learning about each other. Now, in the third phase, and this is where I find where a lot of relationships hit a rough patch, because if you can't get past this is going to be kind of indicative of how things are going to move forward, right? So in this phase, I call it the expressing feelings phase. If you have an issue with the person for whatever reason, or you have an issue with a situation, or there's an issue arises, you express your feelings, and you express it however you express it, to be honest. There's no right or wrong way to express your feelings, but this also gives the person on the other end of it an opportunity to see if that's something that they like to handle or want to be a part of, or something that they really want to step back from. And again, I see this in relationships quite a bit. And I will say, I'm just gonna put it out there, I tend to fall into relationships pretty quickly, and it's usually this phase that's the make or break, because when I express fully. But you know what? There are people that stick along for the ride, and there are people that don't. So this is where you really start to get into the meat and potatoes of where your communication aspects are. Now, this final phase, and I feel like if you can't move to this phase, it's kind of we're just talking at each other rather than actually communicating. This is where I really feel like the evolution takes place. But this is problem solving. Now, if I come to you and I express my feelings to you, the problem solving element would be like, okay, I understand your feelings. How do we rectify this? It's the how do we rectify this part that is the problem solving portion. Rather than I hear you and it goes in one ear, not the other, or I hear you and I don't find it valid, or whatever the case may be. Because you can express feelings at each other back and forth as much as your little heart desires. But when we come into a stage of care for a person that is so great that we then want to move past that and into the problem solving stage so that we can now create a relationship where we honor each other, where we are loyal to each other, and we want to progress in this way, this is where we reach the root of communication. So this is where we're moving past talking, right? And talking is, again, it's an exchanging of words. And I can tell you till my face turns blue that I'm upset or that whatever it is, whatever thing it is. But it's when we both get together and problem solve. And now this can happen on both ends as well. The person that is receiving either the complaint or that is looking for the solution to problem solve, obviously they are feeling a certain way and a certain type of burden on them. But the person that is expressing the feelings to them should also come to the table with an effective solution. Like, hey, I'm feeling this way because, and this is what I would like. Because that way you're communicating and you're working together. Now it's a collaborative event. This is what bonds the relationship rather than just whiling about, screaming about however you feel. The problem solving stage, that's the root of the communication, and that's where you experience the most growth with a person. Now, I'm not saying that every person is worth doing this for. In fact, if someone can't even get to the expressing feelings stage, then you have to assess if you're ready to coach that person through it, be alongside that person while they figure it out, or if you want to bail, because really at the end of the day, it's all up to you. But truly, if you can get through these 4 stages, because it's all a journey, then you might have a relationship, whether it be friendship, work, romantic, that is really worth fighting for and that really has integrity. So that's my quick little tidbit for you guys today. I hope you enjoy it. I love coming back on Saturdays and getting to see your faces again, so I hope you enjoy this. If you have any suggestions, reviews, leave a comment, let me know what you guys like, what you want to see in the next Sacred Saturday. I have tons of ideas, but I'm very open to hearing anything that you guys have to say. So anywho, I will see you guys next Saturday, and